Yeah, by TheSuffolkRam from our nerds, we're on to my review of Doctor Who Episode 7 of Season 11, Kerblam! So there may be some minor spoilers ahead, so if you don't have anything spoiled, please turn off now. So the episode opens, the Doctor and gang on the TARDIS, and this incoming object eventually appears and utilises all the TARDIS. It's this robot, policeman, presumably the postman, presumably the TARDIS could tell that he was harmless, which is why it let it through its defences, and here's a parcel from a company called Kerblam, which is the sort of intergalactic version of Amazon, where you can sort of buy whatever you want, wherever you want, and have it delivered. And inside the parcel's a fez, which is a nice callback to Matt Smith's Doctor, and also a delivery slip which says "Help me." So the gang decide to head down to the Kerblam HQ, which is on our moon, and infiltrate and try and find out who sent the message, what they need help with, and basically what's going on with Kerblam. So it's clearly very heavily inspired by Amazon. It's also a episode that's doing a commentary on automation, which is coming. The fact that more and more jobs are going to be automated to the point where then people aren't necessary, and this is an issue that is going to hit at some point in the future. And I don't think we've quite decided how we're going to deal with it. Robots getting better, more versatile to do jobs that normal people before were not reachable by them. AI machine learning is getting better to the stage where that it will be able to replace people's day jobs. I mean, you've got AI machine learning machine getting better at diagnosing people compared to, like, in certain ill cases, compared to doctors and so forth. It's still early days, it's still not really there yet, but it's something you're going to face. And this episode takes place in a world where that issue has happened and people are struggling because people can't work because the robots have machines have took over all their work. And it actually definitely heavily is inspired by Amazon, because Amazon warehouses have lots of automation in them. There's like places where the workers never move, instead the robots bring the shelves to the workers. So they're working in conjunction with workers, but also at one point someone would have gone around and handpicked that stuff, and now the pickers don't have to move at all. So when you think next to your Amazon parcel arrives, it's half been moved by machinery and robots. So this episode is clear. That's all the running theme of the whole episode. Actually, is about this machinery and automation and what's going to happen, how this affects this workforce in this society. It reminds me heavily of Tom Baker's serial Robots of Death, which was set I think it was on a moon as well, actually, like this desert moon or planet. I can't remember which, and there's this giant machine called a sand miner, which basically walks across and basically it's like a mobile quarry, takes in all the materials, processes them, and then dumps out the sand at the end. And this machine was mainly operated by, had a human crew sort of running it, but the majority of it was operated by robots. And they did all the hard manual labour, and the crew, in their case, basically lived in pretty much luxury, and the robots did all the work. It was very much and that was, the robots eventually go nasty and start seeing the crew, but it's not as it seems. That's what the background is, why they're doing it. And this episode treads very similar ground. I don't know whether the writer was inspired by that serial bit, or whether I believe he's a writer who's done a lot of stuff for the classic series, so I have a feeling that's in there somewhere. This series very heavily episode really feels a strong reminder of that episode. I mean, it's actually a very amusing episode. It's got a lot of funny moments. It's probably one of the better episodes this season, if not one of the best episodes of the season. It doesn't get bogged down with any sort of preachiness. It doesn't get sluggish at all. It's very well paced. It feels professionally written. It's an enjoyable episode. It's a real enjoyable 50 minutes. It's got an interesting commentary on things that are actually going to happen, and it works really well. Overall, I have to say, this episode, really, really, really enjoyed it this season, and probably one of the best ones we've had so far this season. So, on to the characters. So, you've got the main gang there, so forth. I won't go too much to them because, to be fair, I've discussed them quite a lot, and I might have things to say on them. We've got so side character-wise, we've got Judy Maddox, played by Julia Hesmond Haig, I hope. She's an HR person, literally head of sort of people, and she's also for the human workforce and looking after them and so forth. And her, along with Java Slay, played by Callum Dixon, are sort of like one of the sort of senior management of the facility. Well, it appears to be they are the entire management of the facility, and they look after all the basically how the machine runs, and they are sort of the only sort of humans, and they interface with the machine. They are both played very well. There's a lot of sleight of hand in this episode of who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, and it does twist and turn. That is a little bit of a spoiler, but nothing major. There's a lot of twists and turns throughout the whole episode, and some things are you get your assumption of what people are like is correct, and some of your assumptions are going to be wrong. Other characters, we've got a lady called Kira, played by Claudia Jessie, who works in parenting with Doctor, and her sort of love interest Charlie Duffy, played by Leo Flanagan. I'm trying to remember if I've seen him before. I've recognised him somewhere, but I can't place him. But I'm sure I've seen him somewhere. Who's a maintenance person at the facility, and he works with Graham, because Graham gets assigned to maintenance. So Charlie works with Graham and helps give him all the information. He's this sort of really not quite socially inept person. Oh, and of course, I've actually forgot one of the main people. Lee Mack's in it as Dan Cooper. For what it is his role, he does it very well. Lee Mack is actually, despite the fact he's a comedian, is actually all right as an actor. I remember comedians aren't usually great as actors from previous times and experience, unless they're acting in a comedy. And the last comedian I remember, which was really bored, was he was the one on the Murder on the Mummy on the Orient Express, and it was I can't remember his name. That'll bug me, but I can't remember what his name is. But no, I can't remember it now. But yeah, his character in that was not great. His acting was pretty darn ropey in that episode, and I don't know what he's playing, but he was really, really bad. So when I've seen TV, whenever there's a comedian, I always think it's going to be a bit bad. But after that, Lee Mack does a half decent job, and he's been in a couple of things, and he's pretty actually good as an actor as well as a comedian as well. So yeah, some good characters in this one as well. So production, the writer, it's written by Pete McTighe, who this is his first time on for the series, but he's also this year has been, according to Wikipedia, content consultant for the Doctor Who Classic Blu-ray range, and also wrote the booklets that accompany each box set. So he does that. So he obviously has had a bit of film Doctor Who. If you look at his sort of past, he's definitely one for quite a few sort of supernatural themed episodes. A couple that I spotted on his IMDb was two series called Nowhere Boys and Glitch, which are both Australian TV series. I guess he worked on Australia a lot, because he's also written a lot for Neighbours and EastEnders, although he's not an Australian, but Neighbours is quite a lot. He's written quite a few episodes for those. So that's what's his background. It definitely feels like, because Nowhere Boys is a teenage sort of level, it does feel like sort of that sort of age range it's hitting for. It's not hitting for the adults, it's hitting for the sort of the younger market. And it's enjoyable, it works very well, it works on both levels. It's directed by Jennifer Perrott, who also directed the I'm going to pronounce this as the Tunga Conundrum, which, now I've had time to reflect on it, is actually one of the worst episodes of the series. But, you know, her direction, that was pretty good, and just pretty good in this one as well. It's actually a really nicely done episode. I mean, the robots themselves are... I actually didn't find them that creepy, if I'm honest. They're mostly meant to strike uncanny valley with their big sort of cheesy grins and light up eyes, but I don't find that creepy. There's been far more creepier robots in this new series, Doctor Who. And in actual fact, the robots from the original Robots of Death were a lot creepier than these robots in this one. If you just look at the Robots of Death, and they're just their sort of stylized really makes them creepy, particularly when they're moving. And they also have glowing eyes as well, actually, now I think about it. So robots didn't actually bother me that much, but you can tell that's where they're aiming for, the sort of uncanny valley. But they've had far worse robots. And it's mainly okay with the CGI. There is one right towards the end, very ropey section, which has basically got pretty much an entire fully CGI backdrop. and they're in front of it, and it doesn't quite gel. You can tell that actors in front of a blue screen. It's always hard, those shots, it's hard to get the sort of three-dimensionalness of it, but you can tell that that's not right. But apart from that one ropey segment, actually it's pretty darn it's actually pretty darn solid. The effects of it are quite nice. I like some of the sort of older machines they come across as well, which is quite amusing. And some of the cinematography is actually really good. There's a bit later on where there's all this warehouse where they're sort of messing with the lights. Again, you'll see it when you watch it, and that is really good. That just works so well. I thought it was a really impressive scene. Yeah, I mean, it looks like I don't know where they filmed it. It looks like a lovely place. But yeah, so I actually thought the production was really good on this one. So final thoughts. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favourite episodes of the season so far. I definitely saw the last sort of batch we've been having. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It's not complicated, it's not a super deep story, but it does touch on some actual current milestones that we're dealing with at the moment in our society, or we'll have to deal with in the future in this, and we have to sort of think about before it's too late. But society's going to be very reactive, and the problem will probably occur before we fix it. But we'll have to think about it before it's too late. And so yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It's definitely my favourite ones of the season so far. It just ticked all the boxes for me, so really good. So thank you very much for watching of the TheSuffolkRam. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please would you do me a favour to subscribe to the channel. Me and my colleague Middlemeister will be doing at some point, not this week but next week, hopefully, like a episodes 5 to 8 sort of 6 to 8 technically, sorry, like mini review of the series, how it's progressing as we start approaching towards the end of the serial, because obviously there's only 10 episodes in the series. So we'll be doing that. And yeah, we'll put your thoughts. If you have like this, we used to do a podcast fortnightly, which our next one will be next Saturday, which you can come join us and watch the broadcast on. It's usually around about 9:30 UK time. When we discuss games, news, me and my couple of colleagues. We don't really discuss much Doctor Who on there, but we do discuss games and TV series on there. Maybe because one, of course, doesn't like Doctor Who. But yeah, if you've enjoyed us, please do that for us. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in in a week's time, when the next episode of Doctor Who comes on, and we're back in historical Britain at a witch trial. So until then, I've been TheSuffolkRam. I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.